Hey, David Wygant, 10-minute daily reality check for Wednesday. Hump week. Are you humping someone today? I always love hump week. It's such a weird thing. Sometimes I remember when I was on Bumble back in the day. God, I do not miss Bumble. I remember people would say, have a good hump week. Or the dumbest things people would say on Bumble. Happy Wednesday, happy Tuesday. Who talks like that? Who walks around and says, happy Monday? Do you ever approach a total stranger? I would think that they would need lithium or some type of like antidepressant if somebody walked over to me and said, happy Monday, right? I'd really look at them, Brett, and think to myself, man, they need medication bad. But yet, when it comes down to Bumble, which I will never, ever step near again, because I think it's one of the worst things in the entire world, I listen and I remember the emails of happy Tuesday, happy Wednesday. I mean, it's just hilarious. It almost reminds me of how depressed Ray Donovan is right now. Because Ray Donovan would literally say in this next episode coming up on Sunday, happy Saturday. What's up? Okay, I'll talk for those of you who are Ray Donovan fans, all right? Every man on Ray Donovan walks like I used to walk, the same walk that Cole used to make fun of, right? That kind of hitch, and it looks like I've got a back issue. I mean, Liev Schreiber, it looks like his lower back hurts him 24/7. Mickey Donovan, played by John Voight, looks like his back hurts him. Avi, that scene, did you watch it the other night?
Last night, yeah.
Okay, right? Avi walked like he had back issues, I mean, you're going to really let a old 80-year-old guy in a members-only jacket throw you in a trunk and beat you up? I'm sorry. Brandon Bunchy walks like he's got back issues. Is it the director? Does the director have back issues and just goes, all right, I want everybody to walk like they've got major issues with their lower back? Because that show, I could tell you, that show needs a little happy Tuesday, happy Wednesday, happy Thursday to it, because it's the most depressing group of human beings ever, except getting to watch Susan Sarandon. Now, she's 70 years old. Either there's a lot of makeup on her neck because she shows no age whatsoever, or that woman really is that fucking beautiful. That woman is, it's unbelievable how she's aged.
Yeah, she's.
I mean, it's like I look at her and I'm trying to think, like, does she have plastic surgery? Has her face moved? Does your neck skin gets what it is, and there's no loose neck skin? So that is Susan Sarandon's real neck. I mean, her body looks great. That woman is like ageless, and I've always thought she was really beautiful. And it's funny if you look at her. I can remember in Thelma and Louise how hot she was. She was never the hottest woman in the world. You never looked at her. You never said Susan Sarandon is a sex symbol. You looked at her as just, she was cute and she was a good actress and so forth, and she had great roles. But I got to tell you, that woman is just, she's an amazing looking woman and has amazing presence. Mm-hmm. Like you can see who's the best actor in this scene, right? And there it is, Susan Sarandon, right? Compared to everybody else. And C. Thomas Howell is the therapist.
Shrink, right?
He's the shrink. Yeah, they just bring everybody out of the woodwork. Any actor that hasn't acted in a while gets to be on Ray Donovan. But thinking about life, I could talk about Ray Donovan for a while. Brett, our fuck-up-isms. I just know I got some serious fuck-up-isms in me. Mm-hmm. There's a motto that I live by. If I haven't fucked up today and made a mistake, then obviously I must have slept all day long. Because there's no chance in hell that if you're a human being that's evolved, you can't make it through a day without doing some type of fuck up. Mm-hmm. It could be the way you handled your kids. It could be, not texting a friend back in the right amount of time, whatever the text Bible says, because we don't even know what the text Bible says. It seems like you can text somebody back in the right amount of time, but then it's sometimes the wrong amount of time, so we don't know about text Bibling. You can say something to your boss. You can say something to your oldest son. But we all have our fuck-up-isms. Mm-hmm. But why do we get so angry at ourselves for our own fuck-up-isms?
Well, because we keep making the same mistake, right? Because it wouldn't be a fuck-up-ism if it didn't happen more than once, if it didn't happen a lot, right? And of course, the funny thing is that the more we think about it, the more we call it one of our fuck-up-isms, like your real estate thing, right?
Oh.
Like you're so obsessed with your real estate shit that that's all you like. Okay, but it's self-perpetuating. You think, okay, I fuck up around real estate. Well, all right. It's like, do you have like, okay, my last name is Parker, and I've always been, and that's if you know the story, and I won't bore you with it now, you know it, but that's how we actually. My father had a Russian name, but he got into a small parking spot, so he called himself Parker long before I was born. So I'm convinced that wherever I go, no matter how crowded it is, I'm going to find a parking spot. And I always do, right? That's not a fuck up. That's the opposite of a fuck upism. But
That's a Parkerism.
that's about, but it's basically true. Like if you think you have a fuck up around a certain thing, well, you are going to continue to have a fuck up around a certain thing until you go to the opposite. Why do I keep attracting this kind of person? Well, because you keep saying to yourself that you keep attracting this kind of person. So why do I keep, Wygant's thing is, why do I keep missing opportunities in real estate? Well, there you go. Because that's what you're saying. You're saying I keep missing. So remember that your subconscious, this is a little bit deep, I guess, for lack of a better word. You have two brains, right? The big brain and the little brain. The big brain is your present, like the one you wake up with and you go, oh yeah, today's going to be a great day. Oh, today sucks. Oh, I got a notice from the IRS. This is shit. That's your big brain. Your little brain is your subconscious, right? The things you think about when you're sleeping, the things that you subconsciously think of. But the trick is that your big brain takes the cue from the little brain. Got that? The big brain, it's like you have two kids. One's the driver and one's the navigator. The little guy is the navigator. He's the smart one. So you got to change the conversation. And what would happen, David, if you said to yourself, I am going to make a killing in real estate in Los Angeles, right? Instead of saying, I've been fucking up around real estate for the last 20 years. I've missed so many opportunities. Well, if you keep saying I missed so many opportunities, you keep missing opportunities.
Do you know what's funny? Navigator is a big repulsive looking car, right? Lincoln, yeah, Lincoln Navigator. It's like, let me drive this gigantic, ginormous thing down the street so everybody gets the fuck out of my way. And it's funny, sometimes you see the littlest women driving it, right? And it's almost like, I've always said big SUVs and a woman is literally like a woman, she's like a general, driving down the street. Get the fuck out of my way, because her whole life she's been petite and little and everything else. And now she gets to drive a giant car and she gets to clear the way. And it's fascinating to watch that. It's fascinating to watch habits. But I'm not deflecting, because I will not deflect, and I will answer.
When you're done, I have a good fuck up.
Okay, and I will answer that question. Oh my God, I can almost cue the story. The loop is unbelievable. It's like, I was at my friend's house the other day. He, every time I go there, my daughter says, oh my God, Daddy, I want a house like this. And I'm like, me too. And then I go into my head and think to myself, damn, man, everything's so expensive right now. I go into the story. There's no value left, right? I don't even need to say anything. I mean, you could feel my energy shift. Then I go sit in my friend's house and everybody's there having a great time. And then he shows me another, beautiful piece of property he bought somewhere else. And I think, oh God, I got some properties in Denver at least, in my head, right? And I literally go to an open house on a Saturday or Sunday and I'll just look at the place just because sometimes, right? And I'll always tell the story. I remember driving by this building like an old grandpa. I remember driving by this building in 2006 and one of my friends said, buy it. And I was like, I don't know, 625. And, I remember driving up in the hills of Sherman Oaks and that property I didn't buy up there. Oh, I offered him like $990, but he wanted $1,300,000. And I just, that $400,000, I wasn't going to do it. And I really sound like a fucking Jewish bad version of Larry David and Jerry Seinfeld character about, yeah, Sonny, let me tell you about my fuck-up-isms. And it's always around real estate. Now, do I have other fuck-up-isms? Sure, there are things that I wish I didn't say to somebody or wish I didn't do to, somebody or whatever it is. Yeah, there's always that. But I think when human on human fuck-up-isms, that's when we have to realize, hey, I got fuck-up-isms, you got fuck-up-isms. Oh, God, you did this to me and did this to me, but you're a human being, so I'm okay. It's like, we got to forgive and forget. It's what we do to each other, we need to learn from. But man, I'll tell you, it's just, our stories just perpetuate. One piles on top of the other.
Terribly. All right, here's mine. Ready? So I'm not handy, right?
Oh, that story will always stay
right.
with me.
I'm a Jew from the suburbs. I was raised by my mother and my sister. There was nobody around showing me how to like a hammer and nail, screwdriver, whatever. But here's the thing: I love doing it. I love like putting together furniture, or like a first house I bought, I took apart the doorknobs and I polished them up and I put them back on. But here's the thing. Every time I put something together or take it apart or fix something, I do it wrong first, right?
Oh yeah, me too.
Like I got my kid a bed from IKEA, and it came and it's like this great bed, and I put it together for him, and it's got drawers underneath, and I'm like, and as I'm doing it, I'm like, okay, I always do it wrong first, so do it right this time. Well, guess what I did? I did it wrong first. I mean, I get it right eventually, but every time I put together a piece of furniture or try to fix something or whatever it is, I do it wrong first because that's what I think. I think I do it wrong first, so of course I do.
I got one, and then I'm going to leave everybody with this. I remember it was 1991. I lived in 91 or 92. I lived in Jersey City with Jessica, and we moved across the way because I was just tired of Manhattan, and that's when Jersey City was kind of a shithole. But we lived in Dixon Mills. It was a pencil factory. It was really cool. The apartments were amazing. For like $1,100, what I was getting was this killer place with central air conditioning. Now, back in the early 90s, living in New York, central air conditioning didn't exist. It was window units just about everywhere else. Having central air and central heat was one of the coolest things in the entire world because it was always an air conditioner you stuck in the window that you hope would stay in the window and not fall out onto people crossing 80th Street, right? And the heat was always something you turned off because it was so unbearable because it came out of pipes into this radiator that was just old pipes from the early 1900s. I mean, it was old. So this was all modern upgrades. So we had a deck on top, and I had views of like the city and everything else. And I remember we bought a gas grill together, and I said I could put it together. So I'm not handy at all. So I started putting it together. It took hours. Finally, I got what resembled the gas grill that I saw in the store. There were a couple of missing pieces, but that's okay. I figured, there's a few missing pieces, but it was standing and everything was fine. So I run downstairs. I'm all proud, and I look at Jessica, and I said, babe, I did it. Almost like, yes. She goes, wow. I go, give me the steak. I'll be cooking this great flank steak. It had barbecue sauce. Remember that awful Kraft barbecue sauce from the 90s? I mean, it was high fructose corn syrup. You might as well just put sugar on your meat, and it probably would have tasted better. God, there's some good barbecue sauces now, though, that are amazing. You go to Air One or Whole Foods, but I don't want to digress. So I bring the meat up, and I've got the thing, the igniter, and I've got the lighter, and it's the fucking thing is not lighting. The gas is on. It's not lighting at all. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? Like the button's not pressing in correctly, but the gas is still on. So finally I'm just like, fuck it. I'll just drop a match on top. Right? So I drop the match on top, and all of a sudden this gigantic explosion goes up around me. Yeah. A ball of flame, almost like Mount St. Helens erupts, goes up and around me. And then all of a sudden goes back down, and the grill's working. So I'm like, cool, I got the grill working. I just feel a little funky on my face. So all of a sudden I feel, and I'm like, my eyelashes are lashed. I mean, you could smell burning hair everywhere. So I put the flank steak on. I go downstairs and I say, hey. She looks at me, she goes, what the fuck happened to you? I said, what do you mean? She goes, get over here, come to the bathroom. We go to the bathroom, and all my eyelashes are singed off, and my eyebrows are kind of singed too. And she looks at me, she goes, what did you do? I said, the button would not work. She goes, and then I told her, she goes, that's like gas. How long was the gas on for? I said, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 minutes. She goes, oh my God. She goes, you're such a fuck up when it comes down to putting things together. I said, I know. I said, that's why we should have gotten it done for $20. It would have cost $20 right at Home Depot to go get it done. Those are fuck-up-isms, are things you can actually laugh about too. But you have to realize in life, you have them. You have to work on them. And I think one of the greatest things is finding somebody that you can be in a relationship with and look at each other and go, hey, babe. And they go, what? Here are my fuck-up-isms. Tell me yours. And together, let's not judge one another. Let's help one another, because we do that for our friends. Like, you tell me you have to put a bed together and I'm fucking laughing. Go, Jews don't put together IKEA. That's the reason why it's a Swedish company and not an Israeli company. Because if it was an Israeli company, it would have come with somebody in the box to put the fucking thing together.
My girlfriend and I have that. Like, I have a problem reading texts. So we say I'm text lexic, as like dyslexic.
There you go.
Like, we were going to the beach one day and I'm sitting in front of her house and I texted her, I'm like, I'm here, come out. She's like, where? I'm at your house. And she's like, read my text. So she came to my house and I was sitting in front of her house because I don't know how to read a text. So I'm text lexic, but we support each other that way.
10-minute daily reality check. See you tomorrow. What's your fuck-up-isms and how do you embrace them?